Here's something to ponder. What does the fox say? No, I'm just kidding. I almost gotcha. Here's something to ponder. The current Republican Civil War. Now, there's not actually a civil war going on in the party. I haven't seen anybody with their guns yet, although I did see a picture of Ted Cruz hunting over the weekend. And the Republican Party is the party of the NRA, so don't be surprised if they have guns blazing soon. But the figurative Republican Party civil war has begun. So let's begin by discussing some of the factions in the Civil War. The first faction we have is the establishment wing. So that would be your Mitch McConnells, your John Boehners, your members who, they could still be social conservatives or conservatives, your Chuck Grassley's kind of a thing. But they've been in Congress, either in the House or the Senate, for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. They're more workhorses than show horses. You don't see them around a lot, but insiders know them. They're the deal makers. They're your traditional members, so they're the established people. That's the first fraction. The second fraction we have are your cooler heads, I like to call them. So those are your John McCains. Now, many of them are part of the establishment, but they're your more moderates. They might be conservative on social issues, but they're more moderate in the sense that they're the very few in the party who seem to have put together all these last-minute deals the last couple of years. They're your people who want to try to avert the nuclear option on either side. So I call them the cooler heads. The third fraction we have are the moderates. Now, many of them are from states that lean Democrat, or they're from the Northeast. So a good example would be, Peter King, or your Leonard Lances, or your Rodney Frelinghuysen's, or you could argue this, some would say, your Chris Christie's. More of the moderate people. They're more moderate on social issues, but they may still be conservative on fiscal issues. So that's your third fraction. Another one would be your libertarians, your Rand Pauls. And as we know, Rand Paul got into an argument with Chris Christie a couple of months ago. So there's two fractions going at each other. And your final fraction, perhaps the loudest, most outspoken, most seen, most heard of, and most known fraction these days would be your Tea Partiers. So that's your Ted Cruz's, your Mike Lee's. There are a lot of people who may not be Tea Party, but Eric Cantor, they're very friendly to the Tea Party. He's been in Congress a few years, so he used to be more establishment, even though now you could argue, that he's a Tea Party. So those are the fractions. Now, who is winning? Now, for sure, I'll say that the Democrats are winning. I mean, Democrats are sitting back and saying, this is great. They're loving this. They figured the more time and the more money that these fractions spend beating each other up is the less time and the less money that they can spend trying to beat us. This is what Democrats are saying. They love this. Now, I'll talk about this more in a few minutes, but Democrats certainly hope that this fractional infighting civil warness continues into the 2014 midterm elections and certainly into the Republican primary of 2016, which, as of now, we would guess will be between Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, and Chris Christie. It'll certainly be interesting debates. So besides the fact that the Democrats are definitely winning, and a great example of this is in Kentucky, where Mitch McConnell, Senate Minority Leader, is up for re-election next year, in November 2014. He's running against conservative businessman Matt Bevin, or Blevin, something like that. It's a conservative primary from the right. He's being called, too liberal. He caved in. He's not true to his values. So, well, Matt Blevin, whatever his name is, I always confuse it. Will he win? Probably not. He probably won't win the Republican primary against McConnell. McConnell has money. He has virtually 100% name recognition. But even if McConnell doesn't lose the primary, even if he wins the primary, think about all that money that he's going to have to spend in the primary against a fellow Republican that now he won't have to spend against Allison Lungerden Grimes, who's the Democrat running against him. And this is happening all across the country. So the more money that Republicans pour into the McConnell race, because you have to defend your leader at all costs, that's less money they can put into races, the Michelle Nunn race. That's less money that they could put into the Louisiana race. That's less money they could put into the Arkansas race and the Montana race. So this is good for Democrats. Democrats are hoping that even if they love to see McConnell lose, and the polls now show him down by a handful of points, depending upon which poll you look at, even if he does come away with a just barely a few point victory, think about all the money that they have to throw into that race that will not be thrown into other races. So Democrats love this idea that Republicans are spending money, and time, ripping each other apart, because that's less money and time that they're spending ripping Democrats apart. So that's the Democrats who are winning. Who else is winning? I don't think the Tea Party is winning. They're definitely pulling the party farther to the right, and they're definitely turning off your moderate Republicans, your establishment Republicans, your Chris Christie Republicans per se, and they obviously are turning off independents and Democrats who never liked them to begin with, but they're especially seen as vile and disgusting right now. So the Tea Partiers, they're not winning. And the problem, and this is where the Civil War is that you have your Tea Partiers, your Ted Cruzes, attacking moderate Republicans, attacking your establishment Republicans, attacking your cooler heads and saying, you guys are liberals, you give in to President Obama every time, you're fakers, you don't hold to your convictions, you're fake Republicans, and we don't want you in this party anymore because you're not real, you don't stand up for what you believe in, you've been in Washington too long. And, in a sense for them and the Tea Party base, it's a great message. It's a great message. It's the message that propelled, your Mike Lees, your Ted Cruzes to Congress in the first place, and, the 40 or so House Tea Partiers, it put them in Congress in 2010 and reelected many of them in 2012. But let's think back to the 2012 presidential election. The Republicans lost in 2008 and 2012. What was the message that they got from the election? That the Republican Party is the party of old Protestant white people. And the Republican Party needs to be more inclusive. Now, yes, these things go in cycles. So, in 2008, we thought the Republican Party was dead. We thought they were dead. And in 2012, they took back the House and 60 seats, give or take a couple. So, no party is dead. Yes, there will be another Republican president in my lifetime. I guarantee it. But if they want to win in 2016... and going forward, they need to become the party of inclusivity. And the Tea Partiers telling your moderate Republicans, your Republicans who may be for marriage equality, your New Jersey, New York, Connecticut Republican, or even your Wall Street money Republicans who are fiscally conservative. They want their low taxes, and they love the Chamber of Commerce, but they're not your NRA convention attending Republicans. By telling them, we are attacking you because you're fake Republicans, you give in, you don't stick to your values, and you weren't with us when we shut the government down to defund Obamacare, that we don't really want you in our party anymore. That's not the way to win a 2016 presidential election. Telling members of your own party, the people who you want to vote for you, you don't stick with us, you're fake. We don't want you in our party is not a winning strategy the last time I checked. If the Yankees went around, no, they didn't make it to the playoffs this year anyway. But in 2009, when they won the World Series, if they went to the fans saying, you're fake fans, you don't stick with us, or they went to all the players on the bench or pitchers in the bullpen and said, you guys are the baseball equivalent of, the moderates and liberals in our party, you don't stick with us, they never would have won the World Series. It's ridiculous to think that they would have. And so, you saw Ted Cruz on television blaming the shutdown that, it's not biased or, it doesn't take a Democrat or Republican or an independent to say that this was partially his idea and his doing. I don't believe Mitch McConnell and John Boehner wanted this shutdown at all. Mitch McConnell said yesterday at a National Republican Senatorial Committee dinner fundraiser that another shutdown was not going to happen because you saw how scared your establishment donors are. They are, pardon my French, shit scared of Ted Cruz. They're scared that they're going to lose. They know deep down if you are a John McCain, a John Boehner, a Rand Paul, a Chris Christie, you know that if Ted Cruz is your candidate in 2016, you guys are going to go down the toilet. You think 2008 was bad, Hillary's going to whoop you bad. Okay, even with the Benghazi thing, Hillary's going to whoop you. So, you saw this. Ted Cruz blamed the moderate Republicans. He blamed the establishment Republicans. He blamed this, saying, you guys ended this shutdown. You didn't stick up to your values. You didn't stick up your guns. And we're coming for you. He said, we are going to primary all of you. And, your Senate Conservatives Fund, your Jim DeMint, your Heritage Foundation, they are trying to purge the Republican Party from within. And you heard Mitch McConnell at this fundraiser, also with John Cornyn, who serves with Ted Cruz of Texas, saying, we're going to battle the Senate Conservatives Fund. So on the one hand, you have your establishments. On this hand, you have your Senate Conservatives Fund, your Jim DeMint's, your Heritage Foundation, which used to be respected in Washington. Even liberals, they didn't necessarily agree with the Heritage Foundation, but it was respected. It's certainly not respected anymore. Definitely not after politician Jim DeMint, who is not an academic. He's not a lecturer. He's not a professor. He's a cold, hard politician through and through. He's a cutthroat. They should not have given the leadership to him. And so he's on this side with your Tea Partiers, with your Ted Cruzes, and they are attacking this side. And it's not a good strategy, as I said before, to put these primaries from the right. If the Tea Party did not exist, Republicans would be holding the Senate right now. But you had your Sharon Engels, your Christine O'Donnells, all of these candidates who ran in Republican primaries from the right won, and the more mainstream Democrats beat them. So the Tea Party, although it put the House in Republican control in 2010, the Tea Party is one of the only reasons Republicans do not control the Senate right now. So what can we take from this? The Tea Party, I don't believe, will be around forever. I think the Tea Party, their power has climaxed, and now it's coming down. I think you're seeing establishment Republicans recognize, they always knew it, but now they're publicly starting to recognize that these Tea Party people, they're no compromise, no discussion. We're not even going to thinking about talking to Democrats attitude, and they have not even ruled out shutting the government down again in January and letting the debt ceiling not be raised in February, they think those two are great ideas. So they are very dangerous for the Republican Party. As I said, the Republican Party will be back. It's only a matter of time. These things go in cycles. If you're a Republican, you shouldn't be jumping and screaming saying there's never going to be a Republican Party. I don't think the Republican Party is going to literally split, but figuratively it is split in many sections. And so what I say to these moderate, common sense, good Republicans who want to compromise, who don't think it's a dirty word, who understand that politics is a two-way street, it's a you take, I take, let's work together, let's fix America, let's get it back on track. My message to them is take back your party. Ponder that.